Welcome to a new Draw My Life video. People say nowadays it's impossible for one person to make a change, but there is a Pakistani teenager who's the living proof that it is possible. Her name is Malala Yousafzai. She stood her ground against the whole army, and she's the youngest person to ever win the Nobel Peace Prize in history. Malala, whose name means grief is stricken in Urdu, was born on July 12, 1997 in the valley of River Swat, in the northwest of Pakistan. Daughter of Torpekai and Thiaudin, she has two little brothers, Kushal and Atal. Her parents were in charge of a school network, and they soon realized about her abilities. When she was 10, Malala already spoke 3 languages, Pashto, Urdu, and English, and she wanted to be a doctor. But politics and civil rights were her highest concern, so her dad encouraged her to become an activist. She had a promising future ahead of her, but in 2007, everything changed for her and everything around her. That year, the Taliban fundamentalist army took control over the area where she lived. They imposed their new rules, banning cultural activities such as dance or TV. They decided girls couldn't go to school, and so destroyed hundreds of female schools. People were threatened to death, and every day they would find beheaded bodies in public squares. But seeing this, Malala didn't hide. In fact, she took a step forward. When she was 11 years old, encouraged by her family, she started giving speeches in several social forums defending girls' right to education. And she participated in different programs to help young students in the region. She even made it to a debate on the Pakistani TV, claiming, "How dare the Taliban take away my basic right to education?" With her efforts, her message was spread, and she became a public figure in the area. But she also called the attention of radical Talibans. In 2009, the local editorial office of the BBC in Pakistan decided to search for a student from the Swat Valley to write a blog for their web, explaining what it was like to live under the influence of the Talibans. Malala shared her story with the world under the pseudonym Gul Makai, an Urdu name for cornflower. She would handwrite her posts and sneak them to a reporter. "I had a terrible dream yesterday with military helicopters and the Taliban. My mother made me breakfast and I went off to school. I was afraid going to school because the Taliban had issued an edict banning all girls from attending schools." In the morning of October 9, 2012, same as every Tuesday, Malala was in the bus on her way to school. She was talking about homework with her friends when 2 members of the Taliban army stopped the vehicle and asked for her. They shot her 3 times, one of them in her forehead. She was severely wounded and she had to be taken by helicopter to a hospital. Hundreds of people protested in the streets of her city, and the news was spread all around the world. Against all odds, Malala survived the attack and was transferred to a hospital in Birmingham, England, where she resumed her classes and started a new life. "Going back to school makes me so happy. My dream is for every kid in the world to be able to go to school. It's their basic right, though I can't still make my brothers do their homework." The news about her courage and her example turned into an international support movement. In 2013, Malala spoke for the United Nations in New York and published her biography, I Am Malala, the story of the girl who stood up for education and was shot by the Taliban. She was also able to create her own foundation with her dad and try to help other child victims. For instance, the Nigerian girls kidnapped by the terrorist group Boko Haram. The biggest recognition to her work came in 2014, when she was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for her fight for the right of education for all children. Only 17 years old, and she became the youngest winner of the prize in history, and one of the 100 most influential people in the world, according to the Time magazine. Nowadays, Malala is still studying and fighting for the rights of thousands of girls in the world. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, and if you want to see more Draw My Life videos, subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode!